Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on the rule well, and Shalom to all the brothers doing the wax, sharing truth. Um, yeah, it's I'll start off on this. Romans 13 and 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed." And yeah, it's like this year is really looking like it can be the year easily, because what you've had happening is compounding upon the last 2 years, man. It's like it's been said time and again. I heard it said time and again, like it's 2022, as in the second do-over of 2020. Because like people were like, oh shit, 2020's peak went into 2021. There was some hope, and then that shit went in the bin. So now people didn't even have the hope. Everyone was, making memes and whatnot about like, oh, 2022 is we're doing it a second time over, and it's looking like it. What you've had with what's it called? The situation. Well, we'll be going to on the Fruits article, obviously, and what's going on in Russia. But also, you've had the metaverse has been getting pushed hella. They've been all like bringing it up in relation to everything, and basically, more or less, all the systems going into a being absorbed into a digital space, man. And that's just really what where Esau's been pushing it, man. He's basically been all the groundwork for that charagma. It's basically been laid, because they've even said like the Omarian the O they've basically been saying like it's a thing where you're not really going to be able to deal with it, and then but then that falls onto testing and basically it falls onto testing, and that's where you had when it was mentioned before, basically the charagma that the Pentagon mentioned would be like you get it implanted, and then it would detect it when it's in your bloodstream and blah blah blah, and keep track of it there. So as such, it's it's all moving, and it's like what, World War III. Russia's basically they've not been playing games. They've essentially been from like late in last year. They've been moving troops up to Ukraine, and it's like this is in the meanwhile when they're doing that gas pipeline. Was it Nord Stream 2, I believe? So they're de-incentivized from stepping in and basically trying to be like, hey, yo, what's going on? Then the US would normally step in, but they shut the bed in Afghanistan, and it's basically like it's looking precarious. So what so on AP News says Russia moves more troops westward amid Ukraine tensions, and these men, they ain't been playing. They really been showing they don't give a fuck. And it's kind of wild, but then that's been the spirit of Putin, because it's what Ezekiel 38 putting the hooks in the jaw to turn him back. Because from when Putin's been in there, all he's been doing is basically being on that cold He's basically looking to take care of business, more or less. His respect, for the West is non-existent. He's basically just been like, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. So it says what Russia is sending an unspecified number of troops from the country's far east to Belarus for major war games, officials said Tuesday. A deployment that will further beef up Russian military presence near Ukraine amid fears, Western fears of a planned invasion, which, you know, they're it's funny because RT is more or less saying like how much of a joke it is that they're saying like, oh, they're gonna invade, but obviously they've got what do you call it, American, they've got what's it called, interests at heart, Putin's interests at heart, just like how in the Western media they'll basically just cover shit uh to make America uh you know look as glamorous as possible. So it says what amid the soaring tensions, the White House warned that could attack its neighbor. Russia could attack its neighbor at any point, while the UK delivered a batch of anti-tank weapons to Ukraine. Russia's deputy defense minister. It's funny as well because Boris has been getting raked over the coals in the news. So if there was a conflict and skirmish, it doesn't even need to be a conflict, man. It would just need to be like a little skirmish. So like a little skirmish, a little tiff, for him to just be like, yeah, we need to do something. Then people are gonna let him do what he needs to do in office, and that's like a classic. That's a classic tactic, man. Whenever there's a scandal, a nice neat war, nice chill bit of conflict. Cheeky few missiles, cheeky few tanks. Couple of soldiers getting blasted. It puts all that to bed. So, hey, live there, and really, it's like a lot of these guys have an incentive. There's stuff in it for them, man. So okay. So Russia's deputy defense minister, Alexander Fomin, said the joint drills with Belarus would involve practicing a joint response to external threats. Ukrainian officials have warned that Russia could launch an attack on Ukraine from several directions, including from its ally Belarus. The Belarus guy is basically just he does what Putin wants. That guy that's essentially a Soviet state. Any point on the Ukraine. So, a series of talks last week between Russia, the US, and NATO failed to quell the tensions over Ukraine. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will meet his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Geneva on Friday in another attempt to defuse the crisis. Ukraine's defense ministry said Tuesday it has received a shipment of anti-tank weapons from the UK, knowing that they will help strengthen our defense capability. It's funny, but it's similar situation with was it fucking Taiwan? It's like up until a certain point, they can fuck with you, but when the full on move gets made, then it's like when the full on move gets made, it's gonna be peak. It's gonna be peak. Because at that point in time, it's then just gonna be like, hey, like, you down, or or what's up? But that's how we're in that time, man. We're in the time at the end, because when these things are getting ready to pop up, you had a situation with in the Middle East with Iran. That's still there. Like Iran and what's it called? State of Israel is toned down because it's not as wild in the news when these men were out. You know, the so-called Palestinians and so-called these guys calling themselves Israeli Amalek. These guys were getting into swingers, suplexing each other in the street. That's that, well, either it's not being reported on or it's toned down or both. But as such, what do you call it? They're but it's it can turn up at a drop of a hat because them men are still running a nuclear program, and that's the main point of contention. They ain't gone anywhere. As such, they're they're basically gonna be that's gonna get roused up at some point in time. So it says Russia has already started moving troops for war games in Belarus. Fomin said it would take through February 9th to fully deploy weapons and personnel for the Allied resolve drills, which is expected to take place February 10th to 20th. Not 10, yeah, 10th to 20th. So Fomin didn't say how many troops will be involved, but mentioned that Russia will deploy a dozen Su-35 fighter jets and several air defense units to Belarus. The deployment would bolster an estimated 100,000 Russian troops with tanks and other heavy weapons who are already amassing Ukraine. Yes, and fucking insane number of troops. Yeah. That's an absolutely insane number of troops. If you think of it. Man said 100,000 and they're trying to pretend like they ain't going to war, man. Them men are gonna do what they're gonna do. So as if Russia has denied that it intends to attack its neighbor, but demanded guarantees from the West that NATO will not expand to Ukraine or other Soviet nations. And I think the main thing was, I believe Ukraine was going to join the EU. And yeah, if it starts fucking with the EU or NATO, starts fucking with the beast, then yeah, that's basically the point of the main point of contention. Russia has denied that it intends to attack its neighbor, but demanded guarantees from the West that NATO will not expand to Ukraine or other former Soviet nations or place its troops or weapons there. Washington and its allies firmly rejected Moscow's demands during Russia-US negotiations in Geneva and a related NATO-Russia meeting in Brussels last week. So yeah, Fomin said the drills in Belarus, which involve an unspecified number of troops from Russia's eastern military district, reflect the need to practice concentrating the country's entire military potential in the West. A situation may arise when forces and means of the regional group of forces will be insufficient to ensure reliable security of the Union state, or we must be ready to strengthen it. So yeah, these guys are basically ready to go storm into the West. And that's the thing is, these conflicts, bruh, they're on the way. Hey, the Lord's rousing up the spirit, man. It's gonna get 1 Thessalonians 5:1. It says, "But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, they shall not escape." Yeah? These guys are saying peace and safety. But what? It's sudden destruction. That travail, man. Those birth pains. It's there. You can feel the what do they call it, contractions. It's like that you can feel the contractions in the earth all throughout. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that their day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. Ye are not of the night nor of darkness. Yeah, the those that don't see these things coming, they're in darkness. They've had their eyes covered. They had their ears shut. Because the reality is you talk to people in the world, there's people of hope for the future, man. There's people talking about 2020, 2025, 5, 10 years in the future, talking about X, Y, and Z. They're thinking about, they watch Spider-Man. They're thinking about the next 10 years of Spider-Man films. It's funny because there's a good quote, which is timely from like what Avengers Infinity War, where it says we're in the end game now. And then that was the name of the next Avengers, man. We're in the end game now. Because why? That's hey, we're in the end game. This the end game. This is where shit's going down. Everything's getting ready to transpire. It's all basically gonna come to fruition, man. All the things, basically the Heavenly Father is set up for these times. And hey, we're in the midst of it. It's now, like, people might be thinking, there's some form of ease coming because restrictions are being basically taken off in the UK. But hey, they don't realize is even with that, doesn't mean peace and safety's coming. Doesn't mean everything's gonna be chill. Everything's gonna be good. Everything's gonna be fun, because it's been evident that that whole spirit has been done away with. That spirit's gone. But yeah, I'll close it up on that. Say all praise to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshua, Bashem Makakadesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great most honorable wow, and shalom to the brothers doing the work in truth, pushing this word to the four corners, man. Bringing about the end, man. End of Esau's world. Shalom.